Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, VC. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Here we are, a vinyl finds video. I haven't done one of these in a while where I face the camera. But yeah, I have a few things to show. The vinyl gods have kind of smiled on me in the last couple of weeks in some ways. I say that because I've picked up 4 really nice things that I'm really happy with, but on my birthday a couple of days ago, I broke the cantilever and stylus on my tone arm, which I've never done before, and it was very careless. And I've had that arm for about 5 or 6 years now, and it doesn't have an arm lift, doesn't have a latch, so I'm generally always really careful with it. Never had any issues in 5 years, but just a silly mistake. And yeah, it's very damaged. It was kind of overdue for me to get a new cart anyway, so it's kind of, I was thinking about getting one at one point. So anyway, so long story short is I've got some records to show, but I haven't been able to listen to them before showing them, so I'll do my best to describe them. I did take some notes, but yeah, I think I've got 4 records to show, and these are all things that I found in the wild in stores in New Zealand or across New Zealand, which is pretty cool for what they are, I have to say. But yeah, so vinyl find number 1. I was up in Auckland visiting my parents, and we took a bit of a road trip all the way up north, about a couple of hours, to a small town of Waipu. And there was an antique store in there that had a pretty cool collection of records. They had like a kind of a very rare box of stuff, and it was very strange because a lot of like average stuff that we can find, for $10 or more was priced up, but this box had a lot of reasonable stuff in there. And the first thing I found right at the back was this absolutely fantastic Michael Gibbs record. Now, yeah, this was a steal for what it goes for. So that was really happy. They actually had a bunch of Michael Gibbs records, and I should have just bought more of them, but I was pretty excited by that one and I grabbed it. But yeah, it is a UK 1970 on Durham, or Durham, however you want to pronounce it. And it is in absolutely immaculate shape. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Kind of a very early example of like a jazz rock big band sound in the UK. Michael Gibbs was born in Zimbabwe and I moved to the UK. Yeah, very, very, very cool. Very detailed compositionally. There's lots going on. Yeah, really, really wonderful. I think as a recommendation, if you'd like maybe another Mike Westbrook, this is adjacent to that, and also check out Tanglewood 63, which I think is his next album, and it kind of takes those early sort of jazz rock sounds and amps it up a lot more. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's a who's who of players. I mean, I could read them all out, but there's a massive list. Kenny Wheeler, Tony Oxley, John Sermon, Alan Skidmore, Ray Worley, Chris Spedding, etc., etc. There's lots of different people that play across lots of different tracks and compositions. There's some really funky killer bass playing in parts as well, which I really love. Wonderful compositions, and this is something that I'll keep listening to over and over. Definitely a high watermark of British jazz, and kind of a cornerstone in the UK for sure. Absolutely wonderful. So I was really happy to find that. The guy also, after he saw that I was kind of interested in the more kind of unusual stuff, he told me they had a box of things that were extra rare, and he showed me, and he had about 6 or 7 of the Brian Eno Obscure series records, originals, barely played, and he wanted like crazy money for them. but for some reason, one of them was, I'll say it was like 60 New Zealand dollars. Not sure what that translates to, but the others were, triple, quadruple the cost. And that was this one here. Another Michael. We've had Mike Gibbs, Mike Westbrook mentioned, and Michael Newman all in the video. So I don't know why this one was so cheap, because I don't think it's ever been played. It's absolutely silent. And I will fully admit that I know the name, of course. I've seen the cover, but I didn't know what it sounded like, but I kind of just grabbed it on sight. Michael Newman, Decay Music. And this is really, really wonderful. I'm looking forward to really spending more time with it, but it's kind of very hard to describe what it is, but it's very minimal. Michael Newman, he sort of was one of the first people to coin the term minimalism. I know that he did a lot of soundtrack work later. Mostly I've known his name for his work on the soundtrack called The Piano, which came out in 1992. At the time, it was a very famous movie that was filmed and set in New Zealand. I think it won a lot of awards. That's where I had known his name from for a long time. But yeah, what is the music? It's very minimal, very spacious, slow. It's just piano, the first track. I've seen it described online as being called process music. And it kind of sounds like a really slow movement or a slow decline. Very beautiful, very minimal, spaced out piano. And anyway, the second side is called Bell Set Number 1, and it follows the same theory, but it sounds closer to like Balinese gamelan music, and a little bit more going on than the solo piano. But yeah, it's just a mixture of bells and sounds and textures. Yeah, really, really enjoy it. Really happy with it. Something that I can really get my head into once I get a new stylus. So yeah, again, really happy. You don't ever see these in New Zealand, UK presses, especially like a mint one. So really, really happy with that one. I'll jump around a bit now. The other week I was in my local record store, which I've kind of given up on having anything good in there. It used to be a lot better, but I feel like the owners have given up a little bit, and it's all crap. And I thought to myself, I normally do quickly look through the classical section, and it's on the floor, literally piles of it on the floor, unmarked, unsorted. And they had a box in the corner, which I've never noticed it before, I've never been through it. It just said classical on it. So I thought I'd have a dig. I think I was meeting a friend, so I had about 10-15 minutes to spare. I was digging through, and then right at the back, I saw something that kind of jumped out to me, a record that I don't have, but I'm sure many of you will know on here. This is Jordan de la Sierra, Song of the Gymnosphère / piano music. Now, most of you will know this album from the Newman Group reissue from 2013, which had a slightly different cover. I'll put it up in here, but this is an original pressing, and this was $8 New Zealand dollars, and it's a VG Plus shape. It is the 2 LP version with the booklet. I think it was repressed later as one record. Comes with the whole thing. So this was a massive score for what it goes for. Yeah, absolutely kind of beautiful, minimalist, very sort of like dreamlike and basically new age music, or very similar to new age music, but very stripped back and minimal. And there's lots of echo and delay and repeated piano phrases that go on. I would say the first track and the first disc is amazing. The second disc you could probably skip because it's kind of more of the same, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, yeah, I'm really happy to get this. I never bought the Newman Group reissue for whatever reason. I think I never saw it, but really, really happy to get a copy of this one. Please check it out if you don't know it. yeah, there's lots of new age references and words and phrases in this booklet, but yeah, very cool. What is that doing in New Zealand? How did that get down here? Why was it priced so low in a record store that does price things up when they know that they're rare or expensive? So that felt like a win. And then 2 more records. Did I say that was from 1978? I didn't, but I don't know if you care about that. So the last 2, kind of a little bit more interesting. If you remember in my last video, I was playing the Free Radicals Polarities, and I thought that was a really cool piece of music, and lots of people commented and said they enjoyed it too. And that was a record that I had been after for a long time, and one appeared on Facebook Marketplace, and I grabbed it. I was really happy about it. And the second one popped up on Facebook this year, and I looked at my Discogs and I added it to my want list 9 years ago, and to get them both finally within the space of 2 months. Yeah, how does that happen? But it does. So I did pick up the second release. This is the second, I think they did 2 in total. So I've kind of got them both now. This is Free Radicals I. This one came out in 1987. Now the Free Radicals are not the band that did the 90s hit You Get What You Give. But yeah, these are kind of an experimental / post-punk / classical. I mean, I read this quote on the internet, which I hate, but this is what someone described it as, and it's not correct, but I'm going to tell you. Eno meets industrial punk meets Stockhausen. Now, it's not as good as it sounds, but it's really enjoyable. So yeah, these 2, the Free Radicals band, I'm pretty sure it was actually Chris Cole that turned me onto them many years ago, and I never heard of the band. I think he told me about these and a long time ago, so I'm really happy to finally get them both now. This is the second release, 1987. It's on the label South Indies, which if you ever see anything on this label, if you're from this part of the world, South Indies there, please grab it. This is Bill Doreen's label, the guy that put out the Builders records, Beaten Hearts. There's a whole bunch of stuff. He has different aliases. But yeah, very happy to grab this. So, how do I describe this? Yeah, it's a very mixed bag of ambient, electronic, almost classical bits and pieces, very ethereal and floating. There's some vocoder and parts, which does make it sound very dated, but for a New Zealand record, it's very interesting and very out there. This is a photo of Wellington Harbour on the cover. I used to live around here somewhere, but now I'm all the way out across the harbour. But yeah, Free Radicals, I guess it's just called I, on the South Indies label. Check this out on YouTube. Definitely kind of interesting. Yeah, and the last one is kind of more of a funky, fun record that I went to a record fair, and someone I know there, one of the sellers, recommended it to me. He kind of knows my taste pretty well. I just grabbed it basically as a blind buy. This is Joy Unlimited, and it's called Instrumental Impressions. Now this is I think it's like a 2011 reissue of a 1972 Italian library soundtrack kind of thing. But the band are called Joy Unlimited, and they're sort of a kraut prog band. It was originally released, 1972 on a label called DeVega, which I think is quite... I don't know a lot about library music, but it's quite a... they had a lot of good output. Anyway, this is a really fantastic, funky, big horns, groovy, amazing killer breaks on it, all the way through. Really, really solid record. I'm glad I bought it. I really enjoyed it when I spun it. But yeah, Instrumental Impressions. The track Soul Gravy is the one that I would recommend. But yeah, this is just funky, groovy, big band, fun record. Very fun, very contrasting to the Jordan De La Sierra and the Michael Nyman. But really glad that I picked this up. It was new to me. Reissue on Sonorama from I think 2011 or 2012. So there we go. That's what I picked up. Just some nice records. I'll check in with you all soon. Hope you're all doing well. Enjoy the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. We are now getting into winter. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. See you soon.